Okay, we are good to go.
All right. Well, good morning, members of the Technical Advisory Group. This meeting is now called to order. Please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Jeff Sheets,
Avondale present.
Greg Fataz, Jim Keane, Tom Bacon,
Present.
Mike Chickarone,
Present.
Sasan Paridazadi,
Present.
Justin Fair, Lisa, no, Scott Conn,
Present.
Chris Dalmolin, Steen Hambrick, Kim Clark, Robert Fisher,
Present.
Tracy Mills,
Present.
Jared Morris, and Steve Holiday.
Here.
Oh, and Phil Oslin, but I don't believe Phil is attending today either. Okay, and we do have a quorum.
All right. I think it's spring break. This was a bad week to have this. I think a lot of people may be out. Anyway, all right, so on to item 2. Our next item is call to the audience. MAG provides the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. Informational items are items on the agenda for discussion and not for action. Members of the public are invited to submit written comments via the MAG website. Any comments received 2 hours prior to the meeting have been shared with the committee members in advance of the meeting for consideration and will not be included in the formal meeting minutes. Staff, have we received any online written comments for the call to the audience?
Thank you, Chair. We have received no online comments for the call to the audience.
Thank you. On to item 3, approval of the January 16th, 2025 meeting minutes. Our next item is for that approval. Does any member of the committee have any questions? Hearing none, prior to the approval of the meeting minutes, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment. Staff, have we received any online written comments for this item?
Thank you, Chair. We have received no written comments for this item.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 3?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes by Mike Chickarone.
Jeff Sheets, second.
Right, we have a motion by Mike Chickarone and second from Jeff Sheets. We will have those participating in the meeting take part in a voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. We need to see the faces of everyone to participate in the voice vote. For those who cannot or do not want to turn on their cameras, staff will conduct a roll call vote. Staff will only call on the virtual participants who do not turn on their cameras. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote so that staff can count the people's names whose cameras are not on. Can I have a voice vote? Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And those opposed say nay. Members, please leave your cameras on. Staff, can you take a roll call for members who did not have their camera turned on?
Yeah, all cameras were turned on.
Excellent. All right. Item number 4, Western Regional Innovation of Technology Alliance. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion and will be presented by Scott Conn from the City of Mesa.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to give you an update on the Western Regional Innovation and Technology Alliance, otherwise known as RITA. I am hopeful that everybody has heard of RITA at this point in time. If not, I'll give you the brief introduction. Allow me to share my screen here. RITA is, in essence, a grouping of 7 states. We are up to 7 states, including Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. I have spoken to individuals and groups in all of the states, and I have yet to run into a single individual that says this is a bad idea and they don't want to participate. Everybody wants to jump in on RITA, which will go live officially on March 31st, Monday, March 31st. RITA is designed to be a way for all IT personnel within state, county, local government, and special districts to share information back and forth in an open forum format, and hopefully learn from one another when doing, say, a project that you might not have undertaken before. And I'll just use an example of moving ERP up into the cloud and asking people, have you done this before? Who did you do it with? What were the problems you experienced? What are some of the things I should put in place to make sure I can ensure success, et cetera. And this is the true value of being able to share. And it's not a CIOs or an IT directors only club. This is all IT personnel or members that you wish to sign up for your organizations. There are two types of membership, and they are an enterprise membership where everybody in your organization can get a login and be a member. And there, for the smaller groups, individual memberships. You can buy 1, 2, 3, 5, however many you want, individuals who would then get a login and be able to share and collaborate and basically get the news from the rest of the group and share with your teams. We are a nonprofit. We have officially become an Arizona nonprofit corporation. We have selected Fusion Learning Partners as the actual operating partner of the entity. What this means is that the members can become board of directors members or committee chairs or committee members and set the strategic direction for RITA. We want it to do these things. We want it to be about this kind of mission. The purpose needs to be the following, et cetera. And we allow Fusion Learning Partners to do the day-to-day operating of the website, the collaboration tool, arranging conferences, meetings, webinars, and things of that nature. So it's a useful tool for knowledge for the members themselves, but not a huge time burden on having to do this, that, and the other thing to keep it up and running. Probably the biggest task is just getting it off the ground in the first place. And I'm, like I say, on March 31st, this thing is officially off and running. If you look at the middle of your screen there, the member annual fees, the enterprise fee, we will typically set at $1,500 a year. So for places like Mesa or Maricopa County or Clark County in Nevada, I mean, these are very easy and inexpensive things to do where all your IT members would have a membership. Now, for smaller places, normally $150 per individual. Okay, but to get this thing kicked off in the right way, we're going to put everything at 50% off between now and the end of June. So if the organization joins up between now and the end of the fiscal year, you're getting half off, and it will take you all the way through to the end of June in 2026. So that's the special that we're the founders initiative special. Be one of the founding agencies inside of the RITA organization. So we're setting that up. We do have, again, one of the top benefits here is the online collaboration and the networking and the information sharing. So I've probably beaten this part to death. Just an example here, and I know you probably can't read it, but this was a post from a similar site concerning patch management and who do you use and how often do you patch and in what manner do you do this. And it got something on the order of 27 different responses to the simple question of who do you use and how do you do patch management? So it's just one example of what can take place here on the collaboration side. We are in the process of planning our first major event, and that would be the RITA Fall Summit and board meeting, which will take place at the end of September up in South Shore, Lake Tahoe, Nevada at Harrah's. And we've got the facility already booked. We have a keynote speaker already assigned, a gentleman named Kevin Sicati. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of Kevin Sicati. Anybody? Seeing no one, I think this will be really fascinating for you. He is a performance and professional team management innovator and inspirer. And his task is to take teams and make them more productive. He's an excellent speaker. He's talked all over the world. And he just happens to live in Reno, Nevada. So I figured it was an easy junket for him to come on up to Tahoe and give our group a little talking to kick things off. More information to come on the Rita Fall Summit later. It will be a worthwhile event. It will be a relatively inexpensive event for you. Rooms are $89 each. That's the advantage of being in a gambling state. And I'm hoping to get at least 60 of us up there to view this. We are also setting a date for the Rita Annual Spring Conference, which will be next spring at the end of spring training. And for lack of a better location at the moment, I'm putting it in the city of Mesa. Hope nobody objects to that at this point in time. The idea would be to move this from state to state to state as Rita progresses as an organization. Give everybody a chance to show off the best parts of their geographic area. But those are the dates to try and save for right now. And again, on March 31st, rita.us will be a live site where you can actually sign up and go ahead and pay your membership dues. I'm going to give you a little preview of that right now. So we're busy in the background. You can't see this unless you can log in, unless you're a member. Okay, so right now, this would probably be the only screen you could take a peek at. If you went to rita.us right now, this might be all you see. I'm not sure what they've turned on yet. Okay, but it in essence gives a general overview of what we're about, what we're trying to do, how we're trying to help all of ourselves in sharing information. The membership tab will give you the opportunity to purchase individual memberships or enterprise memberships. And you can put in a little code you see right here that'll give you the 50% off as you're doing that. As events unfold, webinars or trainings, or in this case, the Fall Summit, you can go to the events tab and see these things here. You can go to the people tab and look folks up, see who else is a member, see who's participating, see who's been active. And the fun part is it'll show you where they are in the country as well. And the forum is where the magic happens. This is where the collaboration goes back and forth. And any member would be allowed to post, as you see up here underneath the word forums, a new discussion. So you can ask your questions. Hey, who uses Granicus and what do you use them for? And are you happy? You know, you can do any and all topics and allow people to respond to that. This will go to your emails when people respond to your questions, so you know who's participating and who to interact with. And it will also post here so people can track the thread of questions and answers on any particular topic. This will also allow you to search by topic. Oftentimes we'll talk about something in 1 year and then we come back a year later and say, gee, I wonder if anybody ever talked about automatic badging door opening systems. And you could type that in and see if there had been a previous discussion about that in the past, just to bring yourself up to speed. But it's a very powerful tool. It's a very useful tool. I think everybody's going to get a real kick out of this. And it's going to be something that spreads by word of mouth. So while I have the Arizona CIO member list, and I have permission from Chuck Boyer to send an email blast to that list, I anticipate getting the majority of Arizona on board relatively quickly. You know, certainly before the end of April would be my goal. The other task I've got is to get the other states moving in the same direction. And I have talked with the state CIOs of the other 6 states. They are all on board. They are all ready to promote this and get every association or every agency they can on board as quickly as they can. There's a live news feed. We're fine tuning this, topics of interest to the IT community would be posted here from various sources. So we're still playing with what we can and can't do with this kind of thing. but it'll give you up-to-the-minute news. And as we create any sub-organizations, let's say there's a North chapter and a South chapter of RITA, we'll be standing those up here. Now, I want to point out in our midst on the call today, we actually have one of our committee chairpersons, and that's Jeff Sheets. Jeff has agreed to take on the Awards Assessment and Recognition Committee. Basically, this is a group that will formulate a very comprehensive audit checklist of things considered to be best practices, and agencies will be able to apply for, let's call it the Technical Excellence Award, that gets rated by this committee and other people that want to help rate and rank responses as to whether an organization is indeed employing best practices and doing good work, or needs some assistance or some advice on how to get from where they are today to best practices. So it'll be a useful committee, a useful tool. And Jeff, I got to thank you for taking that on. That's a big deal. And what we would do is actually have Jeff make the awards at the spring conference to identify those agencies that applied, went through the process, and actually met best practices. Anything to add, Jeff?
No, I'm excited to see RITA. I was prior to Arizona, I was in Colorado. We had an organization very similar to what this has been based off of. So now I'm excited to see it take off. It was a great collaboration platform for sure.
So any and everybody is welcome to select a committee of their choice. We'll have the committees posted here soon, but there are things, actually Bianca out of Scottsdale is going to be the chairperson for our Artificial Intelligence Committee. And we have Richard McCaddy, the CIO for Maricopa County, has volunteered to be the chairperson for the Vendor Recruitment Committee. Eventually, our membership fees will stay low because we have many, many vendors who are sponsoring RITA and therefore have an opportunity to come to events, have exhibit booths, say at our conference in the spring, give presentations or webinars that people can attend or not, those kind of things. But it's amazing how much money they'll pony up for the privilege of having that kind of access. So with that, I'll open it up for questions at this point in time.
Thank you, Scott. I do have a couple questions. You said you're ready to take payments as of the 31st when you go live. That's when you're going to be ready to take payments.
Correct.
So are the members vetted that they're truly like a government entity? How is that going to work?
That's a great question, Tracy. And we've been going back and forth on how do we actually do that. So number one, the members will be in one part of the collaborative website. If you're a vendor, you can sign up and pay your vendor dues or vendor sponsorship money on the site, but you don't get access to the collaboration piece of this, right? And we were saying, well, how do we know the difference? How do we prevent a vendor from slipping in and watching all the conversations? We really intend to do that via the email domains. We think is going to be the best way to do that.
Gotcha.
Most people will have a .gov, and if they don't, they'll at least mention their agency or their city or their county, and it's verifiable by our web team here.
Okay.
So do we have a sophisticated way of doing that? No. It's just kind of an eyeball test. And that's where we're going to start with it, unless it becomes a problem, which I am hopeful it will not.
Yeah, I guess that was like part of my question was the vendors won't have access to look at the discussion boards and things like that, because I mean, that could be advantageous, right? If they knew I'm struggling with this thing, right? And then I start getting a lot of sales calls. So I just wanted to understand that dynamic.
Yeah, the vendors will not have access to the boards. They will not have access to the membership directory. So we're not going to give them all your contact info or your cell phones, and they still have to work for that. We will give them an opportunity to send out email blasts, let's call them a blast, or promotions, but they will do that after they pay their sponsorship due, and they will do that through Rita. We will control the email. It won't be, okay, here's the list, right? So we're not selling anybody the list of who's in the membership.
Very good. Thank you. Do any other members have questions or comments?
Well, I've got one for all of you. Is there anybody who thinks this is a bad idea and you're not going to join? It's okay to tell me.
No, I'm excited. I see this as, just it's great for a collaboration. Why reinvent the wheel, right? Someone's done something, this project, this whatever before. And so having the ability to have some forum to ask questions, hey, lessons learned or whatever. I mean, it's almost like a mentorship program in a way, so that you can see what the struggles were or what the successes were for projects or what you're looking to do. So I've got a few things on my list. I can't wait to post when this goes live.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, Tracy, that we've already created, just to kind of get the ball rolling, we've created a list of over 100 different questions that my team here wants to ask. And we're just kind of, like being a shill for the house to get people involved. We're going to roll them out like 2 questions a day kind of thing, just to get people interacting with the site. So now the more the merrier. It's going to be a great ride. It's going to be very useful, very beneficial.
I can see that as well. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, without any other comments, then we're going to move on. We'll move on to item 5. Regional Community Network for Broadband Communications. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion and will be presented by, is Ryan Gish here? Ryan Gish from
Yes.
that? Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Good morning. Thank you, Chair and members of the Technology Advisory Group. This item is on the agenda for information discussion. I know it sounds very formal, but that's just part of the process now. In general, this item is about expanding the Regional Community Network, or RCN, services to allow broadband communication. It was brought up through the ITS committee members, which is led by your local agency traffic and transportation groups. But before I get too much into that and the discussions with that, maybe a little background on the RCN. And also I will offer, if any of you are new to hearing about the RCN or ever want any more information, and please follow up after this. I'd love to sit down and talk with you more about the RCN because you guys probably already have it in your local agency. But anyway, the background. So in general, the RCN is a little over 15 years old, so still in its teens, but early MAG designs and studies happened way back in the early 2000s. Then about 2009, funding was allocated through MAG to construct a lot of these key interagency fiber paths. So the network, of course, has expanded past the original, we'll count the original connected agencies, which was probably about 7 or 8, and I'll probably be wrong on that one, Audrey, so you can always correct me. But over the past 15 years, we've continued to expand past that, almost like double that number and maybe even triple it. Most of these expansions were made possible through agency ITS, fiber projects, or even some of your IT projects that have come down the way to add fiber paths in. Other than those major agency expansions, we've also, the network has grown into your local departments. Some of those would be like your IT departments, direct connections into some of the public safety groups, even public works, and even emergency services like fire. And then, of course, from just the physical expansion, I feel like I'm going through like an OSI model here, but we've also expanded to the amount of applications and services allowed or even approved across the network. Most of these are some of them are the original ones that were approved in the beginning, which is kind of like a traffic camera sharing, your traffic signal coordination. And then we've also expanded into MR911, which is not quite as heavily used, but also on their fire ops side of City of Phoenix, they also use it for some redundancy back to some of their key sites back in Mesa. We've also expanded on to some of the disaster recovery for backups for some of the IT groups. So yeah, a lot of usage for a lot of interagency connections that you guys might need. But also earlier this month, getting back to the point here, is ITS committee members discussed this item in length. There was an emphasis on the need for a secure yet flexible connection that the RCN could potentially provide. Many of the participants agreed that expanding the RCN's role to include this broadband internet connectivity could help streamline some of their operations for traffic or transportation use, also enhancing the communications they have, and of course then mentioning that would reduce the strain on some of their local IT folks, so your local IT departments. So we talked in length about some of the challenges with the security and also difficulties in integrating some of the third-party systems, such as like vehicle data communication, which is primary use for this. And from that, the discussions just kind of went back and forth on, people that, felt it was a good idea and things that we'd like to go. But then it also then generated something on our side on MAG, and they asked if we could, I guess, kind of look into this a little further and explore a little bit more, maybe some of the potential cost, the technical requirements, and any of the policy adjustments that might be needed for this expansion of this service. So it's a little different than normal because we've had a no cost addition or no cost add-on for a application or even a service, if you will. This is the first one that would be more of a added cost. So it would include some costs. And with that, we'll probably look at doing we'll do some type of study or evaluation here at MAG to kind of go into some of these. And with that kind of concludes my little update on it, and I'm going to leave it up to you guys for some discussion. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if it's really quiet, I'm worried.
Sorry, I realized
No,
I
it's
was on
okay.
mute. I don't think I have any questions. So well, kind of, yes. So you were talking about the secured method for integration. So you're still looking, you're still exploring what that's going to look like and putting a cost to it. So you
That's
don't
correct, yeah.
have that information yet.
And sorry, Tracy, and to kind of answer that one quickly, yeah, we would probably go out and hire a consultant that would handle the policy and the technical changes that might be required to do this. So we go through the full study before we actually went full bore and just said, hey, we're gonna make the connection happen. So it'll take a little bit, but yes, we would go through that full study and report back to you guys, because as part of the original policies, procedures, and kind of bylaws for the RCN, we are required to report to the ITS committee and also your guys' tag on any changes. So
I remember that, but I just
there you
haven't
go.
seen anything for quite a while. Could you, just for some of the newer members, talk about the application process? Because you had mentioned, I think some of the new people may not realize or recognize what they could use it for. You touched on it briefly, but just that application process and what that would look like if they needed to or wanted to use some of that fiber.
Yeah, you bet. So we've always had this kind of a no cost application add-on. So if there's anything that you guys could use communicating between interagency, any type of data sharing that you might need, or even like some of the ones that we've had is some disaster recovery backups. This RCN, or this regional community network, allows you guys that pathway for direct communication instead of going, maybe all the way out through some ISP to come back into the other folks' ISP and back into their network. So it kind of gives you that secondary path or a more direct route, because it is a private, it's for the past, however long it's been air gapped from the internet. And now with this presence of, we introduced this into the internet again, but a lot of these application add-ons, when we've had to do them in the past, we did have to go through that process where they would kind of vote on it. And the voting was approved by regional council a while back to say that the tag, your group, and the ITS committee could make those decisions on those no cost service additions. And again, I get back to the service additions or application add-ons, which are your typical ones used for the traffic camera sharing, which is pretty heavily used, which is a lot by the traffic folks, and also the real-time crime centers within your local agencies. Those are using it pretty heavily. And I think that's really about it, Tracy. And I'm sorry if any of you are new, like I said, to the RCN or you haven't heard anything about it, I'd love to come out and chat with you guys about it. Give a little more formal presentation about how it started and where we've gone.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Ryan?
I just wanted to add something on the application process. There is actually a form, but what you do is you come forward and you say what it is you want to do, how much bandwidth it's anticipated to use, and recognize that the transportation use will always have priority because the fiber network was built with transportation dollars. And so for the federal requirement, the FHWA had told us we need to make sure that we're always putting that use first. So that's part of the acknowledgement you would make, and then you would go through MagTag and ITS and get that approved as a no-cost service edition, and then we would eventually report that out to the higher committees, just as we did this, but that authority has been invested in those two committees for the no-cost service editions. Obviously, what Ryan's talking about is a different beast because there is an initial cost and an ongoing cost with that.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Audrey. That probably answers the question a lot better for Tracy.
No, that's fine.
That's good.
Brian, I had a question, and I apologize if I missed it in your opening kind of statement, but what was the kind of use where you see, you know, the broadband? Obviously, if we have a closed kind of loop system now, what are the applications, if you will, to use that term, that would be used to introduce internet connectivity into this?
This would go straight into the traffic application side. So a lot of the folks that are within the traffic or transportation departments are having a little bit of difficulties getting some of these applications to some of their cloud-based services. And, you know, I mean, it's a lot of traffic data that's going out through your guys' local network. And they said they've had some struggles with that, just getting some of these applications out. So it's kind of a secondary path to give them an out to the internet for these traffic-based applications.
Okay, that's helpful. Yeah, in our little small narrow strip, we don't have a lot of that, so that's good to know.
Good. Thanks, Tom.
But camera
Ryan?
stream, Tom.
Ryan, just for clarification, this is not like wide open, they can access anything on the internet, right? It's anticipated to be very limited access to specific
Yes.
applications.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I stressed the traffic or the transportation applications. That was the main use. And that was, of course, the main use of the RCN. Its priority is for traffic or transportation use. But yes, it's very specific. Each one of these applications, they have to be, I mean, I assume we're going to go through this evaluation stuff, but in the end, I imagine they'd have to go through some similar application process and fill out some form that says what it's going to be used for, probably getting down to the detail of specific ports that are going to be allowed through the firewall, bandwidth applications and whatnot. But again, it's different than our normal non-cost because this will be a recurring cost for the internet and for some of the uses of the firewall.
And I think it might be important to remind everybody at this point that we do strongly encourage everyone to always firewall the RCN connections. And I believe almost everybody does.
That's correct.
But even with this limited use, we would continue to encourage that.
Thanks, Audrey. Thanks, Ryan. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we're going to move on to item number 6, comments
Thanks.
from the committee. Are there any comments or announcements from the membership regarding current projects that may be of regional interest to the committee?
One item I was remiss in, I just noticed, Audrey, you were hiding down in the corner of my screen. Since I recognized Jeff, I want to recognize that Audrey Skidmore is actually on the board of directors for RITA and is the representative from the state of Arizona.
Way to go, Audrey.
Thank you. Make sure you tell me everything you want me to tell them to do, right?
Yes. All right. Let's see here. I lost my place. Craig, do I need to read the comment here on
No.
Okay.
That was just if there was any other further discussion on items.
Yeah, I mean, I can share. We have we are starting our design on our RWC tower number 2 for radio communication. That'll be another simulcast G site with VHF. So we just picked a contractor architect. So hopefully within 6 to 9 months, we will have another tower in our jurisdiction. We are also working on a IGA with the AZ Sun Corridor to do a fiber study for us. So that's pretty exciting. And last, we are also in the final stages of working on our emergency alert system. So, you know, the state had given us the RAVE system as part of the 911. How do I want to say that? The 911 migration to the state versus the Phoenix 911 system. So we are preparing to go live with that with our residents and also for our employees to be able to do alerting, evacuation notices, etc. So that's what I have to share. Anybody else?
Tracy, this is Jeff. I'll probably reach out to you about your tower. So I'm actually going into a discussion this afternoon to talk about getting ours started. So
Excellent.
be in touch.
All right. Well, happy to help.
All right.
Any others? It's been very quiet today from all of you. Hearing none. Are there any requests from the membership for an item on future agendas? No? Okay, well, we'll give it some more thought. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I keep losing my place today. I don't think we have a action on that in item 7. So, do we have to do a action to adjourn this meeting?
No, we do not.
Okay, so the next meeting, just for information, the next meeting of the TAG group will be Thursday, May 15th, 2025 at 10 a.m. So with no further business, today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.